Ever wonder what soldiers really ate on the battlefield during World War II? Or what generals were dining on while directing battles? And what about the families left at home, scraping meals together with ration stamps and victory gardens? In this video, we dive deep into the untold food stories of World War II, comparing what soldiers, commanders, and civilians ate during one of history's most defining conflicts. From canned meat in foxholes to black market butter and roast dinners behind the front lines, you're about to see how war shaped every bite. That's next on Food Folklore. War doesn't just change nations, it changes the way people eat. During World War II, food wasn't simply about hunger, it was about strategy, sacrifice, and survival. Across every corner of the globe, what people ate revealed their place in the conflict. Soldiers ate to endure, generals dined to lead, and families cooked to cope. From muddy foxholes and command tents to backyard gardens and ration-stamped kitchens, this was a war fought through meals, a history served one bite at a time. The battlefield menu wasn't written by chefs, it was written by necessity. Whether in the jungles of the Pacific, the fields of France, or the snowy forests of Russia, soldiers needed food that could survive transport, last for months, and keep a man going through cold, hunger, and fear. Let's begin with the American soldier. U.S. troops relied on two main rations, the compact K-ration and the heavier C-ration. The K-ration came in small cardboard boxes, one for breakfast, one for lunch, and one for supper. Inside, soldiers found canned ham and eggs, dry biscuits, powdered coffee, a fruit bar, chewing gum, a few sugar tablets, and nearly always cigarettes. The C-ration was bulkier but heartier. It came in cans and included meat and beans, stews, and canned fruits. There were biscuits, spreads, candy, and powdered cocoa, often heated over a tiny stove or even a tank engine. Meanwhile, German soldiers carried iron rations, rye bread, canned sausage, and ersatz coffee made from roasted barley or acorns. In occupied territories, they often foraged or took food from local sources. Warm field meals were rare. Cold sausage and dark bread were the norm. But just behind the front lines, in quiet command tents and occupied buildings, a different kind of war meal was being served. While soldiers chewed biscuits and scraped tins, generals sat at real tables, with fresh bread, cooked meats, and even wine. Commanders didn't just lead armies. They also lived far differently than their troops, and their meals reflected their privilege and position. Let's start with General Dwight D. Eisenhower. As Supreme Commander of the Allied forces, Eisenhower had access to private cooks, hot meals, and fresh ingredients. Yet he remained modest. He preferred steak and potatoes, fresh eggs, toast, and strong coffee. A slice of apple pie reminded him of home. In contrast, General Douglas MacArthur was known for his flair. In the Pacific, he enjoyed grilled seafood, fresh fruit, scotch, and fine dinners served on white linen. His meals were a statement of control and command. German generals dined on sausages, gravies, and wine in requisitioned chateaus and homes. In the early war years, they ate well. Roast duck, potatoes, bread, schnapps. But as the tide turned, even high command felt the pinch. Field kitchens followed the American commanding generals wherever they traveled, portable stoves, canvas tents. And military cooks turned out hot roasts, vegetables, bread, and pies for officers and aides. Even under canvas, generals ate with proper silverware and structure. Meals were more than nourishment. They were morale, image, even diplomacy. Shared meals between generals of allied nations built trust. A hot steak could seal an agreement faster than a signed document. Yet far from the command tents and battlefields, another fight was underway. A quieter war, fought not with bullets, but with ladles, ration books, and backyard gardens. This was the war at home. For millions of families, World War II changed dinner forever. Food shortages, rationing, and rising prices forced people to reinvent the way they cooked. Every meal became an act of adaptation and patriotism. In the United States, rationing began in 1942. Everyone received ration books with stamps for essentials like sugar, butter, coffee, meat, cheese, and canned goods. Without stamps, you couldn't buy the product, even if you had money. To make up the difference, people planted victory gardens, small plots in backyards, parks, and rooftops that grew beans, carrots, lettuce, and potatoes. Over 20 million gardens sprang up across the country, producing more food than commercial farms. Creative cooking became a necessity. Cookbooks offered tips on how to stretch meals using substitutions. Molasses instead of sugar, applesauce for eggs, bacon grease for butter. Mock apple pie used Ritz crackers. Wacky cake was made without eggs, milk, or butter. Nothing went to waste. In Britain, rationing began in 1940 and lasted 14 years. Families lived on 2 ounces of cheese a week, 1 egg, and 4 ounces of bacon. Chocolate and fruit were rare luxuries. The Ministry of Food encouraged recipes like Woolton pie, root vegetables topped with mashed potatoes; carrot fudge, a sugary treat made with mashed carrots; and National Loaf, a coarse wholemeal bread baked at home. Milk was powdered, eggs came in tins, fat and sugar were precious. Housewives became home front warriors, cooking with precision, pride, and creativity. Posters would remind citizens to do their part for the war effort. World War II was a war of weapons, yes, but it was also a war of wheat, salt, and potatoes. In the mud of battlefields, in the quiet of kitchens, and in the shadows of command tents, food shaped lives and outcomes. What they ate told the story of where they stood in the war, in rank, in role, and in resilience. So next time you sit down to eat, think of those who had far less, and still found a way to carry on. Because in World War II, every meal was a mission. If you enjoyed this look into the foods of World War II, don't forget to like the video. Subscribe for more food history and comment below. Which of these meals surprised you the most? Thank you for watching. See you next time.